With spring right around the corner, the Beatrix Basket is the perfect sewing pattern to get you started with Mother's Day gifts, Easter baskets, and much more. So let's get started. Firstly, we'll prepare the pocket pieces. If you choose to omit the pocket piece, you may skip these steps. To begin, sew your ear pieces together by placing the lining and outer pieces right sides together, sewing along the top two edges, clipping the points, turning right sides out and pressing. Top stitch if desired. Next, you'll press the bottom edges of your ears towards the centre. Press with your iron, then baste or pin in place. Next, take your pocket ruffle piece, pattern piece E, and press it in half lengthways, right sides together. Sew each end with a 5mm seam allowance, clip the corners, turn right sides out and press flat once again. Make 2 rows of gathering stitches along the bottom edge. Be careful to keep them within the seam allowance. Gather to 7 cm for the small size, 10 cm for the medium size, or 13 cm for the large size. Interface and embroider your bunny's face onto one of the pocket pieces if desired. You may opt to use an iron-on transfer at this stage, or you could utilise machine embroidery. You can leave the pocket piece blank if you do not wish to make a bunny-themed basket. Make sure you mark your bunny ear placement using the notches on the pattern. Pin your ruffle piece to the outer pocket piece, making sure that it starts and ends 5mm from each edge to account for seam allowance. Pin your folded bunny ears on top of the ruffle as indicated by the notches on your pattern piece. Pin and sew the pocket pieces right sides together, with the ruffle and ears sandwiched along the top edge. Leave around a 4 cm gap along the bottom edge for turning. Clip your corners and turn right sides out. Press with your iron and top stitch along the top edge if desired. Next, baste or fuse your batting or foam pieces to the wrong sides of their corresponding outer fabric pieces. Interface your lining pieces with a heavy weight or firm iron-on interfacing. Pin or clip and sew together the outer side pieces, pattern piece A outer, with a 5mm seam allowance, ensuring you clip and press the seam allowances open between each stitch line. I use pinking shears to notch my seam allowances and a tailor's ham whilst ironing to ensure smooth curves. Do not sew the end 2 side pieces together yet. We'll sew on the pocket first. Now, you'll sew your pocket piece onto your outer basket. Choose where you wish to place the pocket, centre it and pin carefully. Top stitch along the bottom 3 sides to secure the pocket to your basket. Now you can join the last 2 outer side pieces together. Next, pin the bottom edge of your outer side piece to your outer circle, right sides together. You may find it useful to sew 2 rows of gathering stitches along the bottom edge of your side basket pieces in order to gather and ease this side onto the base circle piece. Sew together with a 5mm seam allowance. Next, repeat steps 12, 14 and 15 for your lining pieces, but leave a small gap so that you're able to turn the basket inside out later. Now it's time to prepare your top ruffle. To begin, sew the short ends together with a 5mm seam allowance and press open. Press your ruffle piece loop in half lengthways. Gather your top ruffle along the top inside edge of your outer basket piece with 2 rows of gathering stitches within the seam allowance. Pin or baste your ruffle in place. Now we will create your handle piece. Firstly, fuse your interfacing to pattern piece G. You could also opt to use batting or foam if you'd like a more plush handle. Sew the long sides together with a 5mm seam allowance. turn the tube right sides out, press again and top stitch if desired. Pin your handle on top of the ruffle piece either side of the opening. Turn your lining basket piece right sides out. Place the piece inside your outer basket and pin around the opening. Sew along the top edge, being careful to include your ruffle and handle in the stitching. Now, carefully turn right sides out through the turning gap you left in the lining. Now you can sew this hole closed. You could use a machine for this, but I prefer to sew this opening closed by hand using a ladder or a whip stitch for a more invisible finish. Finally, you can top stitch along the top edge if desired. And there you have it, your Beatrix basket is complete. This pattern also works well for trick-or-treating baskets, project bags, or even gift baskets, so why not give it a try in another colour. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy your Beatrix basket.